Good afternoon all. We're resuming the open part of our council meeting for the 30th of June 2026. We held a public excluded part of our meeting earlier this morning. There were no apologies and no declarations of interest. We do have Councillor Everest coming in via Teams today. We did accept one item of extra business, which was an update from the Methven Community Board on the progress of forming the Mount Hutt Memorial Hall Community Trust, and the deputation was received with the public excluded with no council discussion or decision. So I will go now to the minutes from our last meeting, which was on the 10th of June. Page 4 of our agenda, and I'll just go through those page by page if anyone has any corrections. Page 4, page 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. If there are no corrections, can I have someone move that we have read and confirmed those? Councillor Moffat and Councillor Hooper. All those in favour, aye. Against, carried. Thank you very much. We now have the minutes from the emergency council meeting on the 17th of June. Just move that there are no corrections on page 10, 11 and 12. Do I have someone that can move that? Councillor Todd, Councillor Cameron, thank you. And just after that meeting, I'd just like to thank staff and the councillors for all the work that they've done in promoting the survey and getting that survey ready and being able to share that with the community. Councillors doing their Talk It Up Tuesdays and other meetings that they've had as well. And just a reminder that that survey closes this Sunday. So I will put that motion. All those in favour, aye. Against, carried. Thank you. We have the minutes from the Audit, Risk and Finance Committee on page 13. Just if there's any corrections from there. And we have a recommendation that we receive the Bancorp Treasury report for the 31st of March quarter, 2026 quarter. Councillor Cameron, would you like to move that?
Yes, I would, please.
In the second, I'll go back. Councillor Wilson. All those in favour, aye. Carried, thank you. And just go back that we received the minutes from that meeting from the 3rd of June. Councillor Cameron, you'd like to move that?
Yes, please.
And Councillor Wilson. All those in favour, aye. Against, carried, thank you. We'll now move to the adoption of Revenue and Finance Policy Amendment and Development and Financial Contributions Policy, which is on page 15. And welcome to the table, Mark, Richard and Tony. Councillors, are there any questions that you would like to ask on this report? Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Through the chair, thanks for the report, everybody involved. I have a question with regards to the Mount Somers water supply. If we do not adopt the status quo and we allow the rest of the community to pay for the Mount Somers development contributions for the water supply, has there been a precedent for that in the past? Have we done that before?
Tony?
Thank you. In the past, Council has made decisions around the development of financial contributions to apply a cap, and has been on the grounds of reducing the burden on developers. It hasn't been applied for a specific community as such. It's been applied across the board at a more district level. So there's a risk that there could be a precedent set by applying something at a localised community level.
Can you tell me, please, give me an example of where it has been across the community, what that was applied to, the capping?
Thank you. Through the Mayor Liz, it has been applied in the past for the community infrastructure development contribution that was lowered by the council of the day just on the grounds of affordability as it was applied across the district.
Across the whole district, everybody in the district benefited from that?
Correct.
Okay. And do you think that with setting this change and reviewing it, if the change was approved, that there would be a precedent set? Do you think more people would try and appeal their development contributions going forward?
Hamish?
There wouldn't be grounds for an appeal of other development contributions. In the end, people will be compelled to follow council's policy. So the policy will set the contributions, and people will react to that.
Sure.
For whatever their own reasons are. I don't think a cap on one would necessarily create a precedent for people objecting, but it might, and it might create a precedent, however, for future caps from council.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So the answer is maybe. Yeah. Okay. And I had one more question, but I'll wait and let someone else ask a question before.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on this? Just one from me. So we're reviewing the revenue and finance and DC policies now, but we will review them again next year. Is that in line with the LTP? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. So when I look, I'm going back to the Mount Somers water development contribution, drinking water development contribution. When we go back to that, how much is that per ratepayer, given there's 150 connections in Mount Somers for a $6.9 million state-of-the-art water treatment plant? How much is that per every contributor in the water group, if you like? Are they going to pay per annum to support that treatment plant?
It does depend on what capping scenario you apply, actually.
I have a figure.
So we're talking about our future payments, because development contributions are future payments. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I actually have a head start on that, and I have a figure here of about $34 per year per person we're paying at current interest rates to support that. Per 12,800 water connections, we're paying $34 a year to support that at the moment, the Mount Somers water, including the 150 people in Mount Somers, to be fair. Yes. We're all paying $34.45. That was my question through the chair.
Yes, that's correct. On the base calculation of what the capital cost of the upgrade was.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions on this? We do have a recommendation on page 15, and I would like to take it in parts, just because recommendation number 2 has selecting a preferred option for the Mount Somers water supply development contribution. So I will take those in separate parts. So if there's no further questions, I don't want to hurry anyone, but the first recommendation is that Council adopts the Revenue and Financing Policy Amendment attached as Appendix 1. Councillor Cameron.
I'm moving that, but obviously we haven't selected option 2 yet, but I'm moving that.
And a seconder, Councillor Ellis. Any debate or discussion? No, I'll put that one. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. So number 2 is that council select its preferred option for the Mount Somers water supply development contribution. Councillor Gilkison.
I'm going to move that we cap it at 9,459 to make it equal with Methven, their overall DC.
Which option is that one?
The second one.
Second option? Optioned.
Oh, what
sorry.
page you?
No, you're
Sorry,
okay.
it's on page 19, issue 1, option 2.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Maxwell, you'd like to second that? Okay. Are speakers for or against?
I have my open.
Yes, you can speak to the motion.
I'd just like to recap what we know about this DC. So what we know is that it went up $20,000, and that already is more than any other DC in this entire district. Since it went up that amount, nobody has paid it, which means that nobody has contributed to the DC. It has not been paid. The money is just, I don't know where it is, but it's not contributing to a DC. So really, we need to make it be paid. The Mount Somers DC is more than double anywhere else in the district. So I, for one, would like to live in a community that is a whole district and it's equitable for all. And especially with something like water, we are all equally entitled to have clean, healthy, safe water drinking, which is actually what the group water charge is for. And then fourth, it is for the future of Mount Somers, because already we've seen that it has hindered their growth by the lack of building, but also anecdotally, the lack of building and people pulling out from Mount Somers. And it will just continue to do so. And I want to support Mount Somers, and I think that if it doesn't work, we can revisit this, but I think we need to give Mount Somers a fair chance, and being fair means keeping it the same as everyone else in the district, at least. So keeping it in line with Methven to give it a good shot.
Speakers for or against? Councillor Cameron.
I speak against the motion. We are changing the way we manage our development contributions. If we do cap this DC, we have had comments from the team that we have not done this before except for one district-wide amendment, so I think we are at risk of setting precedent and seeing more appeals onto how our DCs are calculated, and I can see that already in the future. I think also at the moment, I think it's a long bow to draw to say that there's no development in Mount Somers because the DC is too high. I think the activity in Mount Somers and the sections are priced accordingly, given that they have to pay the DC for the water. I think the water treatment plant of 6.9 million is a massive investment in world-class quality water, of which we're all extremely proud of, but somebody has to pay, and currently at the moment we're all paying the interest on it and the capital replacement, but some in the capital return, that is where it's sitting at the moment, Councillor Gilkison, but somebody has to pay, and it'll end up primarily on the 10,000 plus connections in the Ashburton township. And that will be who will be paying. So I speak against the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Moffat.
I would also speak against it. I don't think that cap is high enough. I would be preferring option 3. But as far as Mount Somers growth goes, I haven't seen, you mentioned anecdotal of growth being stifled. I haven't seen anything that's not anecdotal about growth being stifled in Mount Somers.
Councillor Maxwell.
I speak for the motion and I support every statement Deb made. This is a thriving community. It should be treated as a whole community, not one section versus another. And to cap it at the Methven rate would set it at them both being the highest in the district.
Any further speakers for or against? Right or reply, councillor Gilkison?
Yeah, I would just like to add that although Councillor Cameron has brought up that it's going to change the precedent, the DC is already being treated differently. It already has a completely different calculation. So we have already acknowledged that this DC does not work for this community. And we already have a lot of appeals. I've been in council for 8 months now, and we've had 3, and they've all been because this DC is too high. And none of them have taken them up. I won't say anything because I think it's yeah. Anyway, we all know how that has been played out. And you're right, somebody does have to pay. So would you like to start paying now or later? Because later is harder because it's going to be a much bigger chunk to try and claw back.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against? Lost. Councillor Ellis.
I would like to move, we cap the DC at 12,500.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Moffat? Okay. Speakers for or against? Councillor Ellis, would you like to speak? Okay, right.
I speak against the motion for reasons previously articulated.
Thank you. Any further speakers for or against? Councillor Wilson?
I speak against the motion because I think we've invested hugely in those two, that water supply there, which as a person who's not on the water supplies of Canterbury, it costs a fortune to put them in and maintain them. So this, even though the DC is there to start with, once you're in the Ashburton District Water Supply Group, you're actually getting water cheap and fully compliant, no matter what happens in the future with testing and that. The Greater Council, the people of Mid-Canterbury will ensure your water is always compliant. So that's a huge benefit to those people.
Any further speakers for or against? Right of reply, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I acknowledge everything that Councillor Gilkinson said earlier. I just feel because of the value of the infrastructure that was put in out there, I just felt that the 9,000 mark was just a bit low, so I would support 12,500. And I just think it's an unintended consequence that the cost of this DC is hindering development, so it does have the ongoing costs that Councillor Gilkinson was talking about.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Against? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is carried. Thank you. So we will continue on with those recommendations. And we have number 3, that council confirm that the 0.5 HUE roading land use differential for non-consented small standalone dwellings applies to water supply, wastewater and community infrastructure development contributions where applicable. That was a mouthful. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Gilkison. And a seconder? Sorry, I missed that. Was that you, Councillor Cameron? You'll second that? Any debate, discussion? No, all those in favour, aye. Thank you. 4, 5 and 6, I'm happy to take those as one. Would someone like to move those? Councillor Ellis. Councillor Todd, second. Speakers for or against? Councillor Wilson.
I speak for these motions. I think it brings us into line. I know there is some pushback from the development community, but it does bring us into line with other areas of the country. So it's almost housekeeping that we need to do to be similar to others, so that people who buy new sections don't get, not caught out's the right word, they understand that it's the same as many other places.
Thank you, and I'm really happy to support that as well. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Right. We will now move to page 64 and the adoption of the annual plan for 26-27. And we have the team here. So we have Mark, Femke and Gordon. Any questions, Councillor Cameron?
Hi, this is probably an obvious question. I'm asking with regards to the fuel adjustment factor of 126,000, and I think the fuel has come down now. Tell me the impact of that, please.
Hamish.
I think as we have previously discussed with council, the way in which we have had to estimate fuel across a year that finishes 30 June next year is the difficulty in trying to have a sensible fuel adjustment factor. So the current slight reduction in the last week has not changed our proposed budget.
Further questions? Councillor Cameron.
So that would be, if it was to be not spent, that would be excess at the end of the end of the year, presumably.
Possibly, but of course there's not a single budget for fuel. So it's in every other, it's in the activity budgets, and all the other costs that come in over and under throughout the year will have the impact on where it finally ends up.
Councillor Wilson.
This is the first annual plan that has the impact of the changes in the water environment, you'd say, with us being a standalone business unit within the council. So it'd be interesting to understand, it's been reported before, but just at this point now, what our water services and sewerage is going up by compared to the rest of council's business as a percentage, that which will, I'm trying to inform ourselves, so when we sit here rates, because there'll be many rates quoted around the country, Auckland City will be a good one, they'll say they're X, but they won't have accounted for water, whereas we need to have those two numbers in our heads so that we can understand it.
Correct. Gordon?
Yeah, absolutely. So the the water service increase is 13.05%, and the non-water aspect is 5.43%.
Thank you. And we've all had the annual plan attached, so I'm sure everyone has had a good read of that. And if you do see any typos or grammar, that can be emailed through to Tony and Hamish just to have a look. I think I've picked up a couple of wee things. Any other questions on this? And I guess otherwise... yes.
It's to do with water again. The Montalto water supplies, and I see we have allocated some money towards the hopefully the transition from its being non-compliant to compliant in the coming year. So that 1.5, that's what that's to do with, isn't it? That 1.5 million.
Yeah, correct. Yes, that's...
Thank you. I just had one question from the annual plan on page 91. It just mentions mini golf fencing. What does that look like, Sarah?
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. It's the fencing along Alfred Forest Road. Currently there is a direct vehicle crossing into that portion, and it was intended just to have similar fencing to around the car park to preclude vehicles getting down there.
Thank you. And the other one was on page 29 of the annual plan, and just around the Rakaia water meters. There's 245,000 put in there. So that's for the other water meters that weren't on, that aren't been looked at through the trial. Neil's not here.
Yes, I apologise, Neil's unable to be here this afternoon, but yes, it's my understanding is that the trial is half the town, and the money in there is to complete that work.
One more from me, sorry. Page 126 talked about the Access Trust, which was in the reserve balances. Helen, is that the old green, Task Force green account, is that?
I'm not exactly sure, but the reserve account balance is really old. It has been sat there but not cleaned up, so it's likely that will just fall through at a general rate.
Right, thank you. Councillor Wilson?
I'm interested in a general comment, not an in-depth explanation, but I think the public will see that the rubbish rate has gone from $276 a person, a household, to $479, which is a huge increase. So it'd be good just to get a small narrative around why that's happened, because it's obviously the glaring one within our rates for the year, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. So the increase in the waste is due to the introduction of the FOGO scheme going forward, and then also it accounts for the increase in costs over the past few years that haven't always been recuperated. That obviously factors in some of the increase in petrol costs as well that you've seen coming through.
Hamish?
And just to round out that the third aspect was that we've re-tendered the contract. So now that that's the successful tender price included in that, as well as the historical and the FOGO.
Are there any further questions? If not, I'll move that Council adopts the annual plan 2026-27 and sets the fees and charges for the 26-27 year, and that Council delegates to the Chief Executive the authority to make any minor editorial changes to the annual plan 26-27 document. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cameron? Any speakers for or against? Councillor Wilson.
I speak for the annual plan this year. I think it's, in my short tenure at council, it's been not the most difficult one, but it's almost been a bit boring, because we've as you can see from our non-water 5.4% is getting close to the 4%, and a big proportion of that will be the rubbish. And so we haven't had all these wonderful choices to build new buildings and to spend money, fritter money, as some councils would say they're doing. We've had to just stick to our core things, and that's all we've been able to do, so that's what we've delivered. And I think the water being separate is the water services plan through the government's new initiative is dictating to us what we have to do, but at the same time that's not a bad thing, because that means that our water infrastructure is being improved, and the quality of water people get right through the community, including Mount Somers, is of the highest standard possible.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Yes, I also support this, and I just want to assure the public that every endeavour was made to look for every cent we could, and a lot of work went into this, and I'm just pleased for the outcome.
Yeah, and that's my thoughts as well. It has been challenging, especially with the conflict in the Middle East, generating rising costs, and then of course the local government reforms on top of that have been proposed. And I'd like to thank the councillors for attending all the workshops, for the staff for providing all the information that we asked for, and for getting us in this position today. Councillor Todd, and then I'll put the motion.
As I speak in support of the motion, it's always hard to compare rate increases with other councils, because it really comes down to what councils put in or take out to get an acceptable rate increase to the general public, and I think we've done a reasonable job there. You can kick the can down the road, but at some stage you will pay in the future for projects that aren't completed.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much. We now have the setting of the rates for 26-27 on page 74. There's a recommendation there, but you will note that the full rates resolution is from page 74 right through to page 81. And we have Gordon and Helen up to answer any questions, councillors. No questions. Would someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Maxwell? Seconded, councillor Wilson. Speakers for or against? Councillor Wilson.
I'll obviously speak for this. No one wants to set the rates. No one wants to be the person who actually has to say that the community has to pay for services. But we're transitioning to a user pays system, so that's why the fees are the way they are. We're trying to not load onto people who don't get a benefit from a service, cost. And I think it's a fair outcome, and we don't know what the future holds, but it's a fair outcome for today.
Councillor Moffat.
As a first-term councillor, you only do your first annual plan once, so I'd just like to say and reassure the public that when setting the rates, I've observed everyone around this table put a great deal of thought into it and talk back and forth and ask questions from officers and require more information when we've come to setting the rates, and I'm very pleased to have got there.
Thank you. Any more speakers for or against? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against, carried. Thank you both. Our next item is item number 10, and this is the Chertsey Reserve Board Triennial appointments. Thank you, Tony. And this, I guess, is this our last reserve board to tidy up?
Thank you, Mayor Liz. Yes, it is. That's the clean sweep now once we confirm these appointments.
Thank you. Questions, Councillor Cameron?
Do we normally not have a council delegate on the reserve boards?
There will be one for, yes.
Oh, Councillor Everett, but his
Yes.
names isn't in the list, that was all.
No, because he's already appointed to sit on the Chertsey Reserve Board.
Oh, so previously, so these are the new appointees.
These are the community members that are joining the board.
Thank you, Tony.
So there is a recommendation there on page 85 that we approve the appointments. Councillor Wilson, would you like to move that?
Yes.
And Councillor Hooper seconded.
Thank you.
Any debate? Councillor Wilson.
I'd just like to congratulate the Chertsey community for turning up and doing it, because when I first came onto council, there was a lot of questions whether anybody was going to come to the community board, and it was going to, there was talk of it going into recess and all this, but it looks like the communities have turned up, and that happens on quite a lot. There's ebb and flow. Sometimes we think nothing's happening, and then you go along to the Triennial meeting or be part of it, and there's lots of people there. So it just shows the value of keeping the faith.
Yep. You're right. Thank you. I'll put that motion. All those in favour, aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Item number 11 is my report, and I just sort of like to note a couple of things. So the AGM is still being held in July for LGNZ, even though the conference has been moved to October, and it will be an online AGM. And so there is a recommendation there that the Mayor be authorised to vote on behalf of Council at the LGNZ AGM 2026, and in the Mayor's absence, Councillor Richard Wilson will be the alternate presiding delegate. Do I have someone that can move that for me? Councillor Cameron, Councillor Gilkinson. All those in favour, aye. Thank you. And then, as I mentioned, the super local conference has been postponed till October. I think that was around the fuel crisis, wasn't it? That's the reasoning for it. And normally we would take myself plus 2 councillors to the super local conference. However, the young elected members who that was going to be at conference has stayed in July, and Councillor Gilkinson will attend that on our behalf. So I have got a recommendation there that, along with myself and CE, Councillor Hooper will be appointed as the delegate for the super local conference. Do I have someone that can move and second that, please? Councillor Todd, Councillor Maxwell. All those in favour? Right, thank you. Carried. Otherwise, are there any questions on that report? You will note the LGNZ remits are attached. However, you can take a bit of time to have a read through those and have a think, and that will come back to the meeting on the 22nd of July. And just then I'll ask for an indication of whether we support them or not. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Asking you a question, Mayor.
Yes.
Local Government NZ briefing, what were the sort of the salient points from Auckland's amalgamation? Like what were the key learnings that we could perhaps carry to our own amalgamation if and when it occurs?
I think that meeting, it was around about half an hour. Did any other councillors join in on that meeting? You can go back and look at them through and watch those meetings. I think from memory, it was around sort of the governance structure of the local board, and the delegations were very, very important. And Hamish, I don't know if you were also on that Zoom call.
Yes, I was. I think there was also a reflection on some of the process that led up to it. So there was a Royal Commission, 2 years of process that led to the formation of the Auckland Council. So they reflected on that process and then an act of Parliament. From terms of once the council was formed, I think there was a perspective from one of the elected members from there that spoke that his part of Auckland had benefited from the reform. Although he also reflected that not everyone agreed with him. So that those observations were pretty widespread. But just as Mayor Liz says, the message was very much around one of the things they wish perhaps was slightly different from their perspective, the presenter's perspective, was that the local boards, of which they have quite a number in Auckland, would have benefited from greater delegated authority from the council, and that some of the frustrations in that relationship is from not having the authority to get on and do the things they'd like in their local area without approval from the parent council.
And what about with regards to financial savings, or did they discuss the actual economic benefits of it, and were there any? Or
they did discuss that. There were no savings, so they made that reasonably clear. But they did reflect on the capacity of Auckland to have, in the 10 years of that council, deliver quite extraordinary in New Zealand terms capital infrastructure program that most people don't think would have happened had the council stayed separate in the disconnected way that led to the Royal Commission had continued to operate in that way. So there was no savings per se, but they had got an awful lot done that perhaps the presenters felt wouldn't have been achieved had the reform not taken place.
Councillor Moffat.
Mayor Liz, just a question around the Mayoral Task Force for Jobs.
Yes.
I noticed you've had a couple of updates. I understand that the VTNZ here is back down to one testing officer for people going through their driver's licensing. I'm wondering, is this a nationwide issue with the lack of testers like there was a couple of years ago, or is this just an Ashburton, do you know, from the rest of the mayors?
I haven't heard, certainly, but last year or even the year before, when there was sort of a lack of testing personnel, that was nationwide, and that was due to the change in the driver licensing requirements, where you could book in a test, pay for that, and then each additional test was pretty much free. So people were using that as, I guess, instead of going to a driving instructor. This time it sounds like they're waiting for the new legislation to come through, which changes the way people sit their licences. So I'm not sure if it's a Ashburton only situation, but Mayor's Task Force for Jobs are definitely well aware of it and keeping an eye on it. Councillor Hooper.
Thanks. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to attend the Heartland Bank Schools Music Festival. I wanted to give a shout out to the sponsors, the organisers and the kids. It was a super night, so thanks again for the invite.
That's all right. I think you were the only one that put your hand up, but it was a great night. Yeah, really worth it. If there's no further questions on my report, I'll move that we receive it. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Cameron. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Now we're running slightly ahead of time. At 2 p.m. we have an update from NZTA on the second bridge project. Sorry, just one moment. So we'll just adjourn until they arrive down here, which shouldn't be too long because we do know that they're in the building. Thank you. Welcome back to our council meeting, and we have some guests in the room to present to us. And I'll hand over to James Cagle, and you can introduce everyone and give us your presentation. Thanks, James.
Thank you very much. I intend to speak very briefly, but thank you very much for having us. We've just set up downstairs. We're very much looking forward to the public information session. The last time round was fantastic. Really looking forward to engaging with the community again this afternoon. With me today, Andrew Robinson, project sponsor. So basically, oversees the governance of the project from an NZTA point of view. And Lonnie, who needs no introduction, but
right.
there he is. That's the introduction he's going to get. And it's over to Lonnie.
Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. It's always nice when James doesn't speak much, so we'll get straight into the presentation. So I thought today I'd just do a bit of a general update, just a few things around design, and then just open up for questions. So we'll just keep as much time for questions as possible. But feel free to stop any time if you do have anything during the quick presentation. Just an updated visualization. So for those of us who can't sometimes picture what it's going to look like, even though that almost looks like it's already there, that's actually the visualization of the new bridge going from Chalmers south across the Ashburton Hakatiri River and over to Tynwald. Yeah, it's getting there. So just a general update from a program perspective. So still on track. Many will have seen a couple of casings going in. So our piling for the bridge started last week, and there's two big steel casings still sticking out of the ground, waiting for our 35-tonne hammer to come out of Littleton Port, which is meant to be here on Thursday to start installing them properly. So program is still on track. We've received all of our statutory approvals, bar the Carters Creek bylaw, which Steve is working very hard on, and that is just related to the culvert going in. You might remember that the different flood areas, so be it the Carters Creek or the river, managed under bylaw as well, so they're outside of the consenting process. We're just finishing that off at the moment. From a budget perspective, so we fixed in the contract earlier this year, and we're all on track. There's no changes, a couple of minor variations here and there, a few negatives, which is always nice, but pretty well on track. The design has been completed. There's a few just tidy up related to the bylaw, and that's specifically around how the culvert in the final drawing sits inside the stream and how we did the stop bank improvements where the abutment of the bridge intersects it. So design is overall complete as well. The North Branch gravel extraction is working well. I just caught up with the team this afternoon. Everything's going well. Hines landfill is also working well as a disposal site. There is a bit of mud because of the rain at the moment, but they're treating that at the moment. We've also got the project management board, which includes representatives from the contractor, the designer, Ashburton District Council, NZTA, and our principal advisor team as well. And then ultimately we have a community session this afternoon. So this will be the first time the community has seen a lot of the final design information. So it's a good chance to share that with them, as well as just the updates on what we've been up to, even though it's pretty visible. I went for a drive around site and it's very visible. So talking to Hayden, the construction manager, he was very pleased, showing me that you can see from one end of the site to the other using our cameras, which is a good thing. It means we've got progress. I don't necessarily need to talk about this one, but it was a big milestone earlier this year when we had the sod turning. Obviously, it didn't quite work out to plan, despite all the people working hard to, but I heard it was a great event anyway. I unfortunately was in Canada, so I couldn't make it, but there was a lot of people who said it was better potentially without the ministers being there, so well done for everyone.
We won't say that, but the event went really well. So,
no, it went off really well, so thank you for everyone who supported with that. We've, as part of the information that we've got downstairs, this is one of the milestone program that we're showing. It's giving an indicative dates on when some of the key areas within the project will likely be completed. You can see the South Street intersection at the top with the new section from South Street to the bridge being completed. The structures, it gives an end date with obviously the Ashburton Hakatiri River Bridge is critical path. That will take us all the way through to basically the end of construction. And then you can see the elements on the Tynwald side. So there'll be a few bits and pieces that are open before the end date, one being the South Street intersection, targeting the end of this year. So that'll be, because it gives actually quite a beneficial safety improvement as well. So that was one of the reasons that was accelerated and done early. These are just the cross sections that we see downstairs as well. These haven't necessarily changed since you last saw them. I won't spend a huge amount of time on them, but pretty well just to say they are basically the same as we approved prior to starting detailed design. And that includes the bridge, which a couple of photos there of the actual construction of the bridge happening, and the Super T beams, which I believe you guys have had a first-hand visit on. So yeah, one up on me there. But those beams are pretty obviously critical to the construction. We've nearly finished doing the Tynwald Bridge beams, and we'll be starting on the Hakatiri Ashburton beams next week, I believe. So everything's going to plan. The last little bit of design, I think we had mentioned it, that there was going to be cultural expression work within the project. We've been working with Te Aro Whenua, the artists from Te Aro Whenua, to design that. Currently the drawings are being digitised and putting into an ability to be able to share that. So we're working on that at the moment. And to do the work that we see there, which is called vapour etching of the concrete, which is what we're planning on doing, you need to fabricate steel panels. So it's kind of like the sketch, like you would a kid's drawing basically, if you cut out the holes and then etch in between the holes. So that's how it's done. Looking at doing it on the bridge in 3 locations along the actual footpath itself. So they'll be in the concrete on the pathway, at the either end and in the middle. And it'll be telling a story about the environment and the history of the river. And next time I come back to you, I'll be sharing the actual design before it goes public anyway. So you will see that before it goes anywhere.
Thank you. I spoke with one of the artists at the sod turning of the bridge, and they were quite keen to see some QR codes placed near the designs, so that, and it's similar to some of the designs in this building as well, where you can just go onto the QR code and it takes you to a website to explain the design. So I don't know if that's possible or not, or whether they've spoken to you about that.
Yeah, we have talked about it. Rather than, obviously the vapour etching goes into the concrete, we were potentially thinking signs at either end so that you can actually scan them and then actually do the walk across.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the thinking is at the moment. It hasn't been finalised, but we've certainly been discussing it. I've looked at doing it on other projects as well. It is quite a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Especially everyone's got a phone now, so.
That's right, and we find it very useful in this this building.
That's a really good suggestion.
Question from Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I've had a few comments that there are a lot of people interested in following the progress of the bridge. Is there a natural spot that they can stand to watch the progress and be out of the way?
There's pathways along the edge that are actually secured. So I was out on Carter's Terrace today, and there is actually a pathway down that you can walk and get quite a good
That's on the Tynwald side.
On the Tynwald side,
Is there anything on the Ashburton side? This particular person that spoke to me yesterday said he sort of got to wiggle around a bit to see, and there's not a natural looking, outlook that he can see.
So all the pathways remain open. We haven't got a specified viewing spot yet, but apart from the South Street intersection, there isn't actually a lot happening on the Chalmers Street side at the moment because the work we're doing is at the Tynwald.
Yeah, that may be why he can't see anything, but he's looking that way, I think, and I think there's...
Yep. Once we jump onto the Chalmers side, it will be pretty obvious because there'll be a large crane right in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the pathways will be a very good spot to look at. Obviously, they're behind fencing.
I think there's a few trouble from what I heard. There's a bit of obstruction, but
yeah,
that was just some feedback. It would be nice to
that's a good
have
point.
a natural spot, Yeah.
I did see a couple of observers today standing on the edge of Carter's Terrace looking at what was going on. So,
yeah.
But no,
this person's on this side of town, but I just thought it was a good point to bring up.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Councillor Wilson.
Is the high, the river's reasonably high this year? Is that going to cause you some grief through the winter because you're obviously in the water to start with, digging holes? Is that going to be a problem, or is that all factored in?
No, it's generally factored in. So we build a platform. There's a causeway out of the river gravels, so we sit above the natural river level anyway. Majority of the flow goes down the main pathway, and they'll be able to divert it under our consents where needed, and we can put culverts under our causeway as well to allow water to flow, and they will be doing that. It's not affecting us at the moment because we're working in the floodplain, and that has no flowing water. Once we get over to the Chalmers Ave side, that's when we'll have to be pretty wary of the weather.
You had your timelines up before, so really good that South Street, the roundabout will be open early. Is everything else looking like it will be on time? Because I think we all get asked when's it going to be finished, and we all say November 2027. I hope that's still correct.
It's ballpark, yeah. It's the simple is it's about a 20-month construction period. So
Okay.
I like to say it was 20 years in planning and 20 months to construct. So it's we did start a month late, but the team is working hard to make it up at the moment. It is a little bit past November, but it's in that vicinity at the moment. But they're working hard to bring that back because we did start a little later than we wanted to.
Okay, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I just congratulate you on the work that's been done. I went and had a look on the Timber side. I was quite amazed at how fast things have happened. Have there been any, we've heard all the good news, any issues like around noise and that sort of thing for any of those people who are, living in the vicinity and that sort of thing with the start of the work that council should be aware of that could be an issue?
I had a chat with Natalie, who's the comms and engagement person for the DNC contract, and she said we've had both positive and some inquiries about the noise. One was a person who asked if we had started piling yet, and we've put 3 casings in already, so that was a good one. But some of the neighbours, it's more about the truck movements so much as opposed to the vibration of the piling. And I think it's more about the noise, the change in the noise environment, and it's kind of uninspected. You can't understand what it's like to live next to a construction site until you've lived next to a construction site. So we are working closely with those neighbours just to make sure, A, they're being heard, and whether or not we can. It is really difficult because we are constructing a causeway and we're lifting it up. There's no noise buns or walls unless they're incredibly high that would actually be able to prevent that. So it's just making sure we're sympathetic and doing whatever we can to prevent it. We've had a few inquiries from, how do I say this, slightly further afield dwellings saying they might have been affected. So we're just dealing with those as they come about. Yeah, so we're always bound to get inquiries, but we've also had a lot of positive ones as well.
So all those inquiries are going directly to NZTA instead of coming through to council?
I always, just because it's a joint project and people know council, I suspect they will go to council, but my suggestion is it should be directed back to the project number and we will deal with it, yeah.
Thank you. Hamish?
Lorna, in terms of the work program, does that include things like weekend work or evening work at key times if things get a bit tight?
So we already have planned to work Saturdays, especially with the piling. Not every Saturday, but just when it's, like, for example, when you're pouring concrete, you need to be able to do things in a certain sequence, so you have to work a Saturday. To keep up program, Saturdays are a good time because we are allowed to work them. We do start later and finish earlier just because it's people's weekends. But at the moment, there's no night works planned. That's not part of the plan. Do we always say, if we get behind schedule because of weather or something, we do like to keep that option open, but right now there is no plan for night works.
Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Follow on from Russell's question, there's on the Book of Faces been some chat about vibrations caused from the piling, maybe cracking people's jib weatherboards, driveways, etc. Mm-hmm. Any comment around that?
Prior to I was commencing construction, we did a pre-construction survey on all houses within 60 metres of any of the construction site. From a noise and vibration expert, that's potentially the affected areas. We're not expecting because of the low vibration that we're providing, we're not expecting there to be any issues. Okay. We have had some inquiries of outside of that area, and we'll treat them with the respect they deserve, but it's outside of that area, it's hard to understand how the mild vibration of the casings going in has caused damage. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong because we need to look into it, but it's unlikely that it's caused by the casings going in.
And I guess if anyone has any questions, today's the chance for them to come down to the library and talk to you and ask anything. Are there any further questions? Councillor Maxwell?
I've got a further question, and it's not relating to that bridge. However, it relates to the Rakaya Bridge. And the person who lives at the top, is there any opportunity in the near future, I would like to think, that there could be some way to have portable lights taken up to the top bridge so that when there's a problem with the bottom bridge, they can get there in a reasonable time, because over 2 hours is way too long.
It's definitely one for me, not for Lonnie.
Yeah, James.
No, look, thanks. Good question. One that comes up at about this time, usually after we've had a major closure, because there's been a crash on and that's closed the bridge, and the disruption is quite serious, as it was last time round. The short answer is, at the moment, in the way you describe it, is the way we work. We take gear up there. The problem is that teams taking gear up there typically get stuck in the same traffic as everyone else trying to get there. We've looked at installing permanent gear up there. The challenge there is literally just how remote it is in getting proper ICT there, so comms and power to the site. It's a project, it's an upgrade project we'd continue to try to make happen, but there is no escaping just the difficulty of the location of the Gorge Bridge. Right? So we are caught in that bind. The ideal is obviously that we don't have closures of the main Rakaya Bridge, because we don't have crashes in the vicinity of the Rakaya Bridge, but it does happen, and we do our very best to minimise it where we can. We'll continue to look at opportunities to make the gorge work better, but it is just a very difficult detour.
Thanks for that, James. Councillor Wilson.
I'm looking forward to Lonnie's future. So we passed our annual plan today, and our annual plan, it's the third year of our of the land transport funding we get from you guys. So tomorrow, I look at my calendar, long-term planning workshop, the land transport plan, the GPS, are they on track so that we can actually make a decision and then see what you've made afterwards?
That was a quick pass.
It was very fast, Lonnie.
Quick pass to James.
We're all eagerly anticipating and waiting for the next government policy statement on land transport. The Minister appeared before the Transport Infrastructure Select Committee 2 weeks ago in Parliament and made comment about the GPS. His comments then said he's trying to get the GPS out as soon as possible, recognises that everyone's waiting for it. It may or may not be issued before the election. We're all in need of it because it informs all of our planning cycles, and it certainly informs council LTPs. I'm happy to continue to have dialogue with you outside of a formal GPS in terms of steers and guidance, but until we get a GPS, and indeed, actually, to be fair, a finalised GPS, which under any circumstances won't happen until the first part of next year anyway, we're all flying a little bit blind.
Thank you. Andrew, did you want to add anything? Yeah. No. Everything covered. Councillor Todd.
Last time you were here, James, when you can't miss the opportunity. We talked about the road between here and Rakaya and how bloody awful it is. You've talked about 2 yellow lines widening the road. Where are we at?
You must have heard me in the car on the way down. I was asking myself exactly that question. I don't have an answer for you today. I will absolutely. I'm talking to the right person tomorrow morning. I'll absolutely follow it up. I know we have programmed work that we need to start engaging with you on. It's of critical interest to the district. So I'll happily come back.
We're taking advantage of you being in the room, James, with all the questions. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Lonnie or James? No, Lonnie, anything to add?
Yeah, it'd be, there was a bit of discussion about site visits, so I might just cover that one
Yes,
off.
I was going to ask that. Yes.
Yeah, it's what I've suggested to the team is monthly is probably too often. It just takes a bit of time for the crew to make sure the site's right. So what I was suggesting to Kate and Linda was every 2 months, if the councillors were keen to come and do a site visit and have a look, just so you can be abreast of what's going on site. The construction team would be happy to take you through.
Yeah.
So either Hayden or Andy or one of the zone managers will take you through site.
That'd be good. Every 2 or 3 months would
Quarterly would be fine as well.
Would work, but I think we'd all be very interested in that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll work with Kay and Linda, and we'll get it in the calendars so it can be planned for you as
Yep.
well.
That sounds really good. Thank you. Hamish?
I'm just jumping out to November 27, Lonnie, on the assumption that everything's gone well and it's completed. And I recall when living in Christchurch, when they opened the overbridge by the airport, the community was given the opportunity as pedestrians to walk across the bridge and explore and see the view in a way that you'd never get from your vehicle. Was that a similar, I mean, you won't be thinking about the opening just yet, but just sowing a seed really that if our community could have the opportunity to explore the bridge on foot before it was no longer available for that, that would be a big win, I think, for our district.
I think it'd be silly not to, so
Yeah,
we
perfect.
can always manage those.
Yeah.
The last major bridge I opened was the Beaumont Bridge in, for want of a better way of putting it, deepest, darkest Clutha, in a town of about 30 people. When we opened it, we had thousands walking across that bridge. It is an absolute opportunity never to be missed.
Sounds good. November 2027, was that right? I know that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming down to give us an update. I know it's just such an exciting project for us, and there's a lady on social media who does a sort of a daily report on the bridge, which I think is fantastic. So it shows how many people in Ashburton are just really excited about this. So, yeah. So thank you very much for coming along. Some of us will join you downstairs between 3:30 and 6:30 to have a chat, and I'm looking forward to seeing the new map or the new plot. Is it called a plot?
It's already up.
It's already up. Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've just got a little bit more to do. Thank you. And we need to go back into public excluded. So, will someone, Councillor Ellis, Councillor Todd, move into PX? All those in favour, aye. Thank you.